9 News at 4.
You may stand upon my back and face your distant destiny, but seek no haven in my shadow.
The loss of an American icon. We'll look back at the life of Maya Angelou and see how Southern Californians are honoring her today.
Clippers confusion. Is the team about to be sold, or is Donald Sterling preparing to fight to the bitter end? Hear what his lawyers telling KCAL 9 today.
And classes begin again at UCSB for the first time since the deadly massacre. But are students even ready to go back to school?
Live from the Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL 9 News at 4. Live, local, late breaking.
Hello, thank you for joining us. I'm Lena Wynn.
And I'm Sylvia Lopez. The world is remembering and celebrating the life of Dr. Maya Angelou. The renowned author, poet, and activist died this morning at the age of 86. KCAL 9's Kent Choknik is here with a closer look at her life and her legacy. Kent.
Sylvia, Lena, known for her inspiring words, Maya Angelou produced more than 30 best-selling books, but her accomplishments simply didn't stop there. It was around 9 o'clock this morning when a hearse pulled away from her home in Winston-Salem. She lived in North Carolina and was a professor of American Studies at Wake Forest University. Angelou loved to teach, but was clearly so much more to so many people. She was an inspiration.
The hells we have lived through and live through still have sharpened our senses and toughened our will.
Born Marguerite Annie Johnson in St. Louis, Missouri, April 4th, 1928. The hells she lived through began at the age of 7 when she was raped by her mother's boyfriend. After she spoke out against him, he was murdered. She blamed herself.
I was 7.5, and my 7.5-year-old logic deduced that my voice had killed him. So I stopped speaking for almost 6 years.
Her growing love for the written word took her to Egypt and Ghana, where she became a newspaper editor. In Ghana, she met Malcolm X and returned to the U.S. in 1964 to join his fight in the civil rights movement. After Malcolm X's assassination, Dr. Martin Luther King asked her to join him. He was killed on her birthday, 1968. The very next year, her first memoir was published, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. More bestsellers would follow. Her books detailed personal struggles, like having a child as an unwed teen. Her son later became novelist Guy Johnson. Blazing trails on the big and small screens, she directed documentaries, won 3 Grammys, was nominated for a Pulitzer and a Tony Award. In 2011, President Obama presented her with the Presidential Medal of Freedom. She called herself Maya, which was her brother's nickname for her. Angelou came from her first husband's name, Tosh Angelos. She created her own name, as she'd created poetry, from pieces of herself. And she inspired by giving her all in everything she did.
Keep on moving. One thing they cannot prohibit: the strong men coming on. Strong men getting stronger, stronger, stronger.
Oprah Winfrey considered Angelou a best friend. Today she wrote, quote, "She moved through the world with unshakable calm, confidence, and a fierce grace. I loved her, and I know she loved me. I will profoundly miss her. She will always be the rainbow in my clouds." And President Obama reacted to Angelou's death with this quote, "A childhood of suffering and abuse actually drove her to stop speaking, but the voice she found helped generations of Americans. In fact, she inspired my own mother to name my sister Maya." Angelou's agent says the poet was busy during her final days. She was scheduled to receive an award in Houston, Texas, and was in the middle of writing yet another book. Maya Angelou, dead at 86. I'm Kent Choknik, KCAL 9 News. Lena, back to you.
All right, Kent, thank you. Well, while she's being mourned around the world, it's especially felt here in the Southland. Students and staff at Maya Angelou Community High School in South LA are remembering the eloquent poet. KCAL 9's Chrissy Fajardo shows us how they're honoring her.
At the South LA school that bears her name, students are honoring Dr. Maya Angelou and are saddened by her death.
I heard in the morning about that. I was like shocked and surprised.
The school held a moment of silence for their namesake, and the principal tells us in coming weeks he hopes to do more to reflect on the 86-year-old's legendary life. A life so inspiring, the administration tells us it was the students who voted for the school's name.
I know some of her story, like how she had to go through all these obstacles, and at the end she was proud of it. She was a very great woman.
Did she inspire you?
Yeah, she was very inspiring to our school. That's the reason we chose her. We're the reason that chose Dr. Maya Angelou.
The poet, actress, and writer never walked these corridors. The principal says by the time the school was named 2 years ago, she was no longer up to traveling. It was Angelou who wrote, "I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." And it's clear many of these teenagers like the feelings evoked by her words.
With all her poems and stories about her, the way she would express herself.
In South LA, Christy Fajardo, KCAL 9 News.
Just 5 days ago, Dr. Angelou tweeted one final time. She said, "Listen to yourself, and in that quietude, you might hear the voice of God." Again, Dr. Maya Angelou, poet, teacher, and civil rights organizer, has died at the age of 86.
We are going to take a look at the weather now. Only a few more days left in May, and things seem to be ending on a mild note right now.
Meteorologist Rich Fields has your first forecast for us now. Rich?
Hi, Sylvia. Hi, Lena. Yeah, cooler temperatures are going to stay with us right on through the weekend, as a matter of fact, and we're going to pick up some cloud cover, too, from two different fronts, and I'll show you where. There's the shot from out at LAX. You can see some of this high cloud cover coming into the area. This is actually coming up from the south, even though an area of low pressure is approaching from the Pacific Northwest. How does that happen? Again, hang on. Lancaster, Banning, Pasadena, and Irvine on the KCAL 9 Weather Network. Temperatures ranging from 73 degrees in Irvine to 88 in Lancaster and Banning. Look at the wind gusts through the Antelope Valley. 32-mile-an-hour gust at this hour. Banning at 20, Pasadena at 20, Irvine at 17-mile-an-hour gusts. There's the satellite and radar. You can see that cloud cover streaming into the desert southwest. Let's back all the way out. I'll show you where it's coming from. This is what's left of what was Hurricane Amanda yesterday at its peak. 120-mile-an-hour sustained winds. Right now, 60-mile-an-hour sustained winds, everything moving off to the north and east up into cooler waters. It's fizzling out, but this entire moisture field and cloud field is going to be streaming into Los Angeles area for a number of days yet. Our complete 5-day forecast is still a few minutes away. Ladies, back to you.
All right, Rich. New developments in the Donald Sterling scandal. There are several reports this afternoon. The Sterling set a deadline of 2 this afternoon for bids on the Clippers. We have not been able to confirm that. And in fact, KCAL 9's Jeff Nguyen spoke with Donald Sterling's attorney today, who said Mr. Sterling will continue to fight to keep the team. Jeff is in the newsroom with details.
Well, Sylvia and Lena, it appears to be a complete flip-flop in less than a week for Clippers owner Donald Sterling. This is the document he submitted to the NBA last night. It is nothing like the one he signed last week to back away from the team.
He's a fighter.
Tough talk from the attorney of Donald Sterling. Last week, the Clippers owner appeared to have authorized his wife, Shelley, to negotiate a sale of his basketball franchise. But then last night, his legal team sent a scathing 32-page response to the NBA in its effort to strip him of his team.
Why sign that document and be where we are now?
I have not looked at the document, and I can't tell you. I understand it uses the term negotiate a sale. He is looking at the word negotiate, not sale. She's looking apparently at sale.
Max Bleacher acknowledges his client signed an agreement with his wife to negotiate the sale of the Clippers last week. And during a recent TV interview, Sterling said it wasn't worth his time or his money to fight a removal from the NBA.
Why the 180 now?
I'm not a psychiatrist, but I'm giving you my assessment is that he was very much disturbed, shocked, upset by these charges at the beginning, and I think his equilibrium was affected. He's emerged from that now.
Next Tuesday, the league's Board of Governors will vote on whether to force Sterling to sell the Clippers following the release of audio recordings in which Sterling could be heard making racially insensitive comments. His wife's legal team released this statement saying Donald Sterling has authorized Shelley Sterling in writing to negotiate the sale of the Los Angeles Clippers, including his 50% ownership of the team.
Where will he take this, and how far will he take this?
We'll fight it until some court says you lose. And frankly, I don't think that's going to happen. I think these charges are so sham, so flimsy, so dishonest.
And in terms of the audio recordings that led to the NBA's removal efforts, Sterling now says they were done illegally by his lover, V. Stiviano. In the newsroom, Jeff Nguyen, KCAL 9 News.
All right, Jeff, it is the first day back in class for students at UC Santa Barbara after 6 classmates were murdered in the Isla Vista rampage. Today, the campus is doing its best to move forward. KCAL 9's Amy Johnson is there live where she spoke with students. Amy.
Sylvia, it has been a somber day here on campus. You can see the flag behind me flying at half staff. And when we walked around campus, we saw students, their heads were hung down. There was no laughter, smiles, or even talking, things that you would expect to see on a college campus just days before the summer break. But instead, these students are dealing with a tragedy that has shattered the campus. Classes resumed at UC Santa Barbara for the first time since a tragic mass murder that left 6 of their students dead.
And it's kind of hard just to go back to class and work and just regular life.
But students like Armand Daulaudi were greeted with a love letter of sorts from English professor Anya Friedenberg.
They really matter to us. You can feel it at the end of every class when you have to say goodbye to everybody. It's sad.
Friedenberg's letter was posted in the campus paper, The Daily Nexus. She says she was asked by another professor to share the words of comfort and compassion to the students.
A lot of very sad, even terrified students.
Her letter to the editor reads in part, "What the faculty have learned in the aftermath of the Isla Vista shootings is how much we love our students. Perhaps love isn't the right word for the bonds that link people who think, learn, and work together."
Isn't the one they were using in the press account, so I just kept telling myself it can't be him. Thank goodness it can't be him.
But one of her students, Chris Martinez, was killed in the tragedy. She admits she was in denial when he didn't respond to an email she sent out checking on all of her students.
But he really was one of those people you kind of instantly liked and trusted.
Tomorrow, Martinez will be absent from her English 101 class.
I don't want to do business as usual. I don't want to take from them their chance to learn from this.
Now, the class is studying King Lear, and Friedenberg says she will discuss the grief, the betrayal, the loyalty, and the love that's in the play on this real-life tragedy. Reporting live at UC Santa Barbara, Amy Johnson, KCAL 9 News.
Authorities need your help finding a suspect wanted for sexual assault on a Metro train. It happened Saturday, May 17th. Police say a woman boarded the Metro Purple Line train headed for Union Station when the suspect approached the victim, pushed her down, and sexually assaulted her. The victim was able to break free. If you have any information, you should call the LA County Sheriff's Department.
Still ahead, a local woman accuses sheriff's deputies of trying to force her not to file a report after an attack.
Plus, the phenomenon comes to LA. Where will the hidden cash turn up? We have some possibilities.
A baby is stolen out of her mother's arms in the hospital, but an Amber Alert and a Facebook twist of fate brings her back.
And as authorities search for the driver of a deadly hit and run, LA considers a new alert system to find hit and run suspects.
A local group of fifth graders has designed a new space colony. The students at Buchanan Street Elementary in Highland Park did it using current NASA research and materials from the founding of the Jamestown and Plymouth colonies. Their next step is to get their space colony funded. This morning, they presented their idea to a panel of school administrators.
This year we had invited our local government officials, and unfortunately they weren't able to come and sit on the panel, but next year we'll expand it to our science community.
The project curriculum was developed by science and history teachers brought in by LAUSD. Talk about forward thinking.
Yeah, no, today's kids are really smart.
Can't get them started early enough.
I know, right? Okay, so we're looking pretty good out there, aren't we?
Looking really good. I'm enjoying the temperatures. I like the coolness.
You like that.
And we're seeing a little more cloudiness come into the area, though. We're going to see a milky haze throughout Southern California for the next 5 days out or so. As we go outside now to take a live shot and see what's going on with that cloud cover streaming into Southern California here. It's all coming from what was left over of Hurricane Amanda off to our south. I'll show you the Doppler radar in a second. There's the live shot from out at Long Beach right now, and you can see some of that haze left over in the atmosphere. Pretty good marine layer presence early this morning, but things have burned off fairly decently. We're calling it hazy sunshine, partly cloudy skies at this hour, but that cloud cover from the south will continue the next couple of days, and then another area of low pressure starts approaching, and we're going to show you what that's going to bring us here coming up in just a minute. 74 currently downtown LAX at 72, upper 80s in Riverside, mid 80s for Van Nuys, Fullerton at 77, and Oxnard now at 69. Just got off the line with the National Weather Service office out of Oxnard. They're saying that our official daytime high today, 79 degrees downtown, 4 degrees above normal, about a degree down from where we were yesterday. So here's our headlines. Our cooling trend will continue. Coastal low clouds and fog again overnight tonight. And then Sunday looks like it's going to be the cloudiest and coolest day of the entire period. Here's the satellite and radar. There's the shot of that moisture flooding up into Southern California with regard to some of the high cloudiness from what is left over of Amanda. 120-mile-an-hour sustained winds yesterday, downgraded now to tropical storm status. 60-mile-an-hour sustained winds. Remember, hurricane force winds come into effect at about 74 miles an hour, so we're well below that. This entire system moving off to the north and east, at least the center, the core of the system. So it's moving into cooler water and fizzling out, but this entire moisture field and all this cloud cover will continue to stream in from the south. Now, let's talk about what's happening coming from our north and west. As we back out a little bit, we're going to show you that our offshore flow will start changing to onshore flow, all from this area of low pressure up here just off the coast of Alaska. As this starts to drop the next couple of days, it's forcing this area of high pressure right out of the picture. But this area of low pressure, the center of circulation, is going to move off to the north and east, and the trough itself is going to elongate out into the Pacific. I'll put things into motion, and you can see what happens as this trough elongates into the Pacific. It opens the door for cooler temperatures to come filtering out of the north. We're also going to pick up some of that cloud cover that we expect by the time Sunday rolls around. So overnight tonight, coastal low clouds and fog again, 61 for the overnight low. Let's check on tomorrow's daytime highs. 70 through Oxnard, mid 70s through Thousand Oaks, Santa Monica, downtown, mid 80s through Simi, Santa Clarita, San Fernando, low 80s for Pasadena. More 70 to 73 degree temperatures for the coastal communities from Huntington Beach through Laguna, 79 through Burbank, low 80s for El Monte and La Puente, more 80 degree temperatures, upper 80s for San Bernardino and Riverside, another triple-digit day for the Palm Springs area tomorrow. So the cloud cover is going to stay with us for the next couple of days. 73 at the beach, 76 downtown, 83 for the valleys and IE tomorrow. Slightly cooler for Friday. We start picking up more cloud cover on Saturday as that trough of low pressure approaches from the Pacific Northwest, to the point where Sunday, mostly cloudy, 60s and 70s by the end of the weekend. Ladies, back to you.
All right, Rich, thanks. Google just unveiled its self-driving car. KCAL 9's Jerika Duncan reports Google's not the only company racing to get those cars on the road.
There it is. Google believes this is what the future of cars looks like. The tech giant released this video showing people taking a ride in Google's latest self-driving vehicle.
There's no steering wheel in the way.
No steering wheel and no pedals. Just push a button and the electric car uses sensors to drive itself.
I love this.
This is the first time Google designed a model on its own. For years, the company has been testing its technology in Toyota-made vehicles. CNET Seth Rosenblatt recently took a ride in a Lexus, which uses a huge roof sensor to navigate the road.
It sees pedestrians, it sees other cars, it knows when there's a lane-splitting motorcycle coming up.
Several automakers, including Nissan, Mercedes, and Volvo, are road testing their own self-driving vehicles that could go on sale by 2020 or even earlier. Google is following a similar timeline and plans to build at least 100 of these cars for testing purposes. But the search giant doesn't necessarily want to make cars on its own. The company is looking to partner with an automaker who can help get its driverless technology on the road.
Jerika Duncan, KCAL 9 News.
Still to come, a local father's fight to prevent the kind of violence that claimed his son.
Plus, a disturbing new report reveals how long veterans waited before dying at one hospital. And now there are calls for a criminal investigation.
And the hidden cash treasure hunt is coming to Los Angeles. Some suggestions on where the money might be found still ahead.
President Obama addressed the graduating cadets of West Point one day after outlining his plans to draw down troops from Afghanistan. The president said this may be the first graduating class since the September 11th attacks not to be sent into combat in Iraq or Afghanistan. The president wants to focus on emerging threats in the Middle East and Africa.
We must shift our counterterrorism strategy, drawing on the successes and shortcomings of our experience in Iraq and Afghanistan, to more effectively partner with countries where terrorist networks seek a foothold.
Some of the president's critics said his speech lacked concrete steps to address current conflicts around the world.
New details in the VA scandal. A new report by the Inspector General shows veterans looking for medical care at the Phoenix VA hospital waited an average of 115 days for their first appointment. That's 91 days longer than the hospital reported. In all, 42 facilities are under fire for manipulating wait times for veterans to receive care. 40 people died. Arizona Senator John McCain says the investigation should be taken to the next level.
It's probably about time for the Justice Department to get involved here. If records were falsified and people were denied care and people died, as was the allegation here of 40 people dying while on that mythical list, then these are criminal activities that deserve the Justice Department involvement.
McCain and other lawmakers say following this report, Secretary of Veterans Affairs Eric Shinseki should resign.
Mr. Secretary. Residents of Watts are getting a brand new state-of-the-art medical center. Local leaders cut the ribbon on the Martin Luther King Jr. Outpatient Center on East 120th Street. The 4-story facility has 70 clinics and 100 exam rooms. Community activist Sweet Alice Harris praised LA County Supervisor Mark Ridley Thomas for making this happen.
I've been here 60 years. I've seen our people die in the homes for the light of not having anywhere to go.
The outpatient center opens to the public next month. An adjacent 131-bedroom hospital will premiere next year.
Still ahead, building a better hip implant.
Plus, a father loses his son, but not his will to stop gun violence. We'll show you how he's bringing change.
And a boy inspires his classmates by setting a distance record when he wasn't even supposed to be able to walk.
And a local woman claims she was brutalized in an attack, then pressured by sheriff's deputies not to file a report. Her demands in a new lawsuit when we come back.
From the Broadcast Center in Los Angeles, this is KCAL 9 News at 4. Live, local, late breaking.
Welcome back. I'm Sylvia Lopez.
And I'm Lena Wynn. An Artesia woman is suing the LA County Sheriff's Department over what happened after someone broke into her home. As KCAL 9's Dave Lopez reports, she claims a deputy brought the suspect's parents to her house to convince her not to press charges.
I was startled. I screamed. And he reached over and he grabbed me.
Vivica Key says it was 3 o'clock in the morning when she heard the shattering of glass over her kitchen sink and this man standing in her living room, bleeding profusely from his upper body, identified